I hope I'm not just talking to myself. I hope there is a God, and if there is, I'm gonna see my honey again.
You know, the whole cancer thing does a terrible mind game on you, and if you blink, it will take you.
Oh yeah, it's, completely her way. I mean, her way was to live.
There is a time for everything. There is a time to dance. There's a time to mourn. There is definitely a time to move on.
Beth Chapman rose to international fame as an admittedly brash but lovable bounty-hunting reality television star.
Excuse me. You gotta walk. Excuse me.
She died on June 26 in Honolulu after a battle with cancer. She was 51. Dog Chapman delivered the heartbreaking news via Twitter, saying, "It's 5:32 in Hawaii. This is the time she would wake up to go hike Coco Head Mountain. Only today, she hiked the stairway to heaven. We all love you, Beth. See you on the other side." Later in the afternoon, as a memorial grew outside the family's home, Dog emerged.
Hi, aloha, how are y'all? For a few years, knew that someday this day would come. It came very unexpected, really fast. And we didn't even, all of her clothes are exactly where they were, her makeup, everything.
An emotional Chapman spoke to reporters, saying that his wife never stopped worrying about the welfare of others, even on her last days on Earth.
She wanted to live so bad and she fought so long. And the reason she fought, she liked life, but she wanted to show people how to beat it and what to do when it got her.
Condolences for the family had poured in from all over the world. Many from the Chapmans' wide range of celebrity friends. Vanna White, Bobby Brown, and Winona Judd among those paying their respects online. Beth had been reportedly filming for the couple's new reality show up until days before her passing. In fact, the last thing Beth posted to Facebook earlier this month was a promotional video for WGN's Dogs Most Wanted.
Are you ready?
I'm so ready.
She appeared noticeably thinner, which was understandable given what Beth had been dealing with.
Right now, I want to go with quality of life instead of maybe quantity.
Chapman was first diagnosed with stage 3 throat cancer in September 2017. Although a 13-hour operation removing a tumor from her neck was successful, her cancer returned in November 2018 as stage 4 lung cancer. She revealed the news in an A&E TV special.
As I start this battle, I don't see a lot of optimism. They gave me 50-50 chances.
What's going to happen if you leave us forever?
This was followed by another emergency surgery. In April, she was rushed to the hospital with respiratory issues. Doctors discovered that she had almost 4 liters of fluid in her lungs. Then, on June 22nd, the world learned Beth was back in the hospital. She was rushed to the ER with breathing problems. Doctors put her in a medically induced coma so she could be treated without suffering pain. That's when Dog shared one of the last living photos of her that we're likely to ever see. He posted this image to Twitter, showing Beth's hand resting on what appears to be a hospital bed. The caption, "You all know how she is about her nails."
What did I just say?
The marshals treated us with respect.
What did I say?
Don't ever break the law.
After all, Beth's flashy and aggressive demeanor is what she eventually became famous for. Our cameras first met Beth long before the glitz and glamour that came hand in hand with having a hit TV show.
I haven't slept in 5 days.
The year was 2003, when she was a desperate wife and mother who simply wanted her husband back. Dog made international headlines for the first time by capturing Max Factor heir and accused rapist Andrew Luster in Mexico. Mexican authorities accused Dog of making an illegal arrest and detained him, but Beth refused to stand by and let her man sit behind bars. Instead, she began to form an off and on again relationship with the media to help get her message out.
He's not being treated like a hero, and he's not being covered like a hero.
Come on.
The luster arrest catapulted the Chapmans to a new level of celebrity, one that eventually resulted in A&E signing them to a reality television deal.
The bounty.
Then you need to sit down and listen to the family talk.
That year, we visited the Chapmans at home for the first time.
Don't mess with the dew, Bonnie Joe.
But even as Hollywood came calling, Beth and Dog remained in the bail bonds business, a business that had been Beth's passion for decades.
Chasing fugitives and capturing fugitives and bringing people to justice who do wrong things to women and children.
Born Alice Elizabeth Smith, Beth's father played professional baseball for the Kansas City Athletics.
In my home, being the baby of 5 children, my parents were divorced when I was 8. My mother struggled putting food on the table for 5 kids. Those struggles were really not known to us. She did not make those known. We did not know what her financial position was. We just knew we had a roof over our head, we had clothes, and we had church on Sunday.
Over the course of her life, the Colorado native wore many different hats. After graduating high school, she held several jobs, including an ice skater, a clerk, a nightclub singer, a gymnast, and a waitress. Beth was the youngest licensed bail bondsman in Colorado at age 22 until her daughter broke the record.
Akamai you are.
Beth moved to the Aloha State in 1989, eventually setting up shop in downtown Honolulu. Together, the couple ran the Dakine Bail Bonds business, went bounty hunting, and counseled detainees. Chapman was best known for her emotional range. One moment, she'd be shooting a suspect with pepper spray. The next minute, she'd be offering her shoulder to cry on.
They're hooked on drugs, they can't get themselves straightened out, and that gives us an opportunity to step in.
Chapman is known as a dedicated wife and mother. In addition to her husband, she's survived by 12 children, 15 grandchildren, and she welcomed her first great-grandchild this year. She was the pushy protector of her dog pack and was especially so of Dog, always standing by his side in case she needed to step in.
And what happened then with that relationship?
Well, we had made...
Her emphasis on family was apparent. One of her first thoughts when she got sick was wondering how her kids were going to make it through.
The greatest gift that I was ever given was children, was my bonus children, and was all the children that he and I have basically adopted as our fans and our friends.
They first met back in the 80s when Dog posted Beth's bond for a shoplifting arrest. They later married and divorced different people, but reunited and began dating. The couple blended their family and tied the knot in 2006. Cameras were there as Beth and Dog married on the Big Island, a bittersweet moment that came just a day after Dog's daughter was killed in a car accident in Alaska. Controversy would find them again as they fought for custody of their grandchild in a Honolulu court, and again in 2007, when a tape was released of Dog making a racist slur, leading to the temporary suspension of their TV show. The success of Dog the Bounty Hunter would lead to other opportunities for Beth, including an appearance on Hawaii Five-0. Chapman was elected president of the Professional Bail Agents of the United States and opposed and pushed some bail reform measures nationwide and at the Hawaii State Capitol, always making sure her opinion was known.
Boo! Boo! Please take the lady out. Absolutely. Listen, he doesn't have to take me, I will walk out. Okay. Because I would never give this guy this kind of significance to sit here and listen to.
Startling thing was that it grew back so quickly, in a 7-month period. It was just like back. Mm-hmm. When I had a clean bill of health, they thought they had all clean margins. But, cancer hides in your body, and it really does. And people who have high sugar diets and high stress or drink lots of alcohol or smoke, are all very, very susceptible to it. And, you know, I have all those things in my family, you know, so it's just, you have to deal with it. Nobody ever wants to get that news, you know. Nobody wants to get that news.
Ready? 1, 2, 3.
The Chapmans were in good spirits earlier this year when they closed down shop at their famous Honolulu landmark. Dakine Bail Bonds closed its doors in January. It was clear in our final interview with Beth that she had a new priority.
There is definitely a time to move on, you know, and I think that faith and fear void each other out. So you have to pick one. You either have faith in your walk or you're afraid. You can't be both, right? You can't have faith and then be scared. Like it just doesn't make sense. And so you can be cautious, you know, you could be optimistic about the future. I'm optimistic about the future, but with what our challenges are right now, it is better for us to make things just he and I.
When she had an attack, I didn't know anything to do but say in Jesus' name and hold her. And when I said in Jesus' name, she said, say it again, say it more. And then she, you know, told the girls and everybody with her mouth and stuff. She came out of it a couple times, and I love you. Are you guys all okay? Don't worry, but she never accepted it. So amazing. This is totally unbelievable.
Reflecting on his wife, Dog noted how Beth fought until the very end and was set on beating cancer in her own way.
And she said it's one of the last things she said, this is a test of my faith. And she had faith, and then that was it. She goes, you know, there's things you go through when you're dying, like steps, like you do when you lose someone, right? You get mad at them, and then you go through all these steps. Well, the last step when you're dying is to accept it. And she said to me the other day, honey, that last step I ain't taking.
He also shared how Beth, even in death, was talking to him. She left him notes to find around their home.
Beth was somewhat of a control person. Is that putting it Hawaiian style lightly? And so, not from the grave, but from heaven, I'm sure she's still controlling me. And I got notes in my pillowcases, on my sink, in my shaving thing. I mean, you know, she's still telling me what to wear. So, I loved her so much. As Lazarus lay, Jesus said, he's not dead, he sleepeth. My final words are, Beth isn't dead, she sleepeth.